What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Ravens Media. Today, we've got a pregame show. It's Sunday football. Joshua's not going to be able to make it today, which is unfortunate, but I still wanted to get out a pregame show for you guys. Forgot to add this, so we're going to have a little bit of everything. But as always, ask me any questions that you guys have. I'll obviously pregame or discuss all of the big matchups I think are important. But I think the biggest thing in this game, I put it in the title. This is going to be a rainy game, and Matt Stafford, fun fact, has not played in very many rainy games in his career. I think it's like 6. I think he's actually 1-5 in rainy games of his career, and he hasn't played in one in like 6 years. That's the perks of playing in Detroit, playing in a dome. And Green Bay, it doesn't rain a lot in Green Bay, and it doesn't rain a lot in Chicago when he'd play him. It would snow or it'd be freezing cold. So he's played in difficult weather games, but nothing like potentially what he's going to face today, which I think is a style that's going to help the Baltimore Ravens. The rain's going to help them play defense. The rain's going to help them run the football, and it's going to be ugly. The Ravens, sometimes they have to win ugly, but sometimes when it gets really ugly, the Ravens fall apart. So that's going to be the biggest thing, in my opinion, to keep an eye on is how the Ravens are dealing with the rain and if they're going to be able to, step up and become that team that we know they can be as a potential Super Bowl threat. They got to show out against the NFC opponents, especially the Los Angeles Rams, who are a team that I think has a good shot, and I think they will end up making the postseason this year. And I know the record doesn't necessarily look like that's going to happen, but the Rams' schedule is not overly difficult, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they are able to perform down the stretch of the season. True. Yes. Don't give it to Justice Hill. Don't let Justice Hill run the football. But again, this is another one of those games where it's going to be difficult. There's probably going to be a couple of turnovers and it's going to be frustrating, but I'd assume the Ravens are going to force some turnovers as well. The short intermediate passing game is where the Ravens are going to have to live. I doubt the deep ball is going to play a huge factor. Maybe we attempt a couple of throws, but the Rams receivers are built for the short intermediate route running, like Puka and Cup, who I believe both will be playing. I should probably check my fantasy football lineups because I have both of them in fantasy. But they're both very good pass catchers. They can, catch the ball in traffic. They can play underneath. They can go across the middle and things like that. So don't think that this is an advantage for the Ravens just outright. The Rams have the ability to play in the rain, and they have Kyren Williams, who's an interesting running back. He's, quick to the hole, just get ball, go. It doesn't seem to turn the ball over very much. I think he's a decent player. I think they're going to improve upon him in the offseason, but that is somebody to keep an eye out for is how do Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen manage the middle of the field. And shout out to Josh Ross. He did get activated, I believe, for today's game. It'll be interesting to see how all of that goes. Sorry, I'm going to pull up Twitter on my phone so I can see any updates. I don't have my 2 monitor set up, so I can't throw it up on the other side. Also, shout out to all the Heisman finalists. Shout out to Jaden Daniels, who ended up winning, who I think should have won. I'm happy with that selection. Obviously, you guys know I was rooting for Michael Penix. I've been a huge Michael Penix supporter all season long, but it happens. I think Jaden Daniels had the better season than Penix. But the Ravens rocking the all-purple. I do like to see that. Sorry, I'm looking for the who's in and who's out update. Also, good luck to everybody in their fantasy football final week of the regular season. That's always a fun matchup. Okay, here's who's out: Rock Yassin, Malik Harrison, Sam Mustapher, Saleh, and Josh Johnson. Okay, so we have everybody essentially. That's really good. I want to see how Marlon Humphrey fares, but again, this is going to be a really interesting game. And why is Rock Yassin out? Let's see here. This doesn't say. Let's see. Rock Yassin. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . I don't know. It's not really saying. Where's the Ravens practice report? That's probably what I need to find. Here we go. Oh, Rock Sin wasn't on the injury report yesterday. So I wonder if it's a healthy scratch. Yeah, I think he is a healthy scratch, wrong siren. Um, or he could have caught the illness that was going around. I know Bateman was obviously sick. Lamar missed a practice. He was sick. Maybe Rock Sin caught some of that. Not 100% certain on that. So we're going to find out, what exactly happened with that. But um, I, I don't know. It's weird doing these solos, guys. It's like I don't really have anything prepared to talk about, so it's just kind of waiting for questions. Yeah, JJ, that's a good point. Marlon being back is huge. I think the Ravens are going to feast with three safety sets and just trying to force turnovers over the middle. Like I think Kyle Hamilton's going to be close to the line of scrimmage. He's going to be trying to swap balls. Roquan's going to be trying to hit guys hard because they're going to drop the football and they're going to fumble the football. So this is a huge game, especially for you're playing a West Coast team. They have to travel all the way out. A West Coast California team. It does not rain very much in Los Angeles, and they play in a dome. These are unique conditions. Obviously, like you hope Justin Tucker is going to be automatic, but again, kicking in these conditions is going to be really difficult. I don't expect Marlon to be on a limited snap count. Otherwise, I feel like they would have had Rock Sin active for the game. I just feel like it wouldn't make much sense to pull him out if Marlon's going to be limited in any way. Like I think Marlon was like questionable going into last game, and that was before the bye week. So the Ravens have had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, and then the next 3, which is just a brutal gauntlet. This, I think, is the most intriguing in the sense of you don't know what's going to happen due to the weather. I think that Jacksonville's going to be a tough one. Niners are going to be a tough one. Dolphins are going to be a really tough one. Like that's going to be like we know exactly what's going to happen in those games. We know how they're going to play. But in this game, we don't really know how the Rams are going to play because we don't really see the Rams play in rainy weather. Maybe they're going to try and play exactly the same, but they play in a dome, they play on the West Coast. Really the only opportunities they get for like consistent rain is when they play in Seattle. And that's really the only place and that Seattle can get ugly as somebody from the Pacific Northwest. It can definitely rain a lot, but they don't really get to experience that very often. And JJ said, will we see a lot of 2-point attempts? No, I don't think so. It doesn't look like the conditions are that bad. I'm just thinking more like, 50-yard field goals, the plant foot and everything like that. But kicking in mud for a 30-yard kick is not entirely difficult. It may be difficult. Like there could be a missed extra point, but I don't think it's worth if it's so rainy that you're unable to like get a good plant and kick an extra point, it's probably going to be pretty tough for the quarterback to snap the ball and try and throw it on a 2-point conversion or try and run it in from the 2-yard line. So I think that would also just be kind of difficult. I don't expect like that to change everything. Roxanne says it's not even raining right now. Well, it was supposed to rain a lot today. That's like in the videos that I'm watching, like it's definitely raining like a little bit. Being from the Pacific Northwest, I'm used to like crazy rain. I'm gonna actually look up the weather right now. It looks like it's 57 degrees, light rain. Looks like yeah, honestly, it's probably not. Yeah, heavy rainfall is possible. Okay, so the rain might not be as much of a problem as like the way that going into this game, everybody was talking about it. It seemed like this was going to be like a crazy weather game. Looking at the weather and from what Wrong Tyrant is saying, which you guys know more than me. I'm out in Oregon right now, so I can't really commentate on the weather in Baltimore. It doesn't look like heavy rain is on the table, but it might be wet. It's going to be wet. It was raining earlier. Um, so it's definitely going to be wet, which does make things difficult. Playing surfaces, we know about Lamar and having to change his cleats and things like that. But um, you know, okay, so this helps, I think, a lot um, for both teams, right? The Rams are going to be able to play more their style. They're going to be able to take those deep play action shots to guys like Tutu Atwell and Cooper Cup, and then throw it underneath and over the middle to Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua, who are two great receivers that I love watching. Um, and you guys know that I love Puka. I talked about him like every day in the pre-draft process as a sleeper wide receiver to go after, and he's been a baller. But the Ravens have some ballers too. I want to see if it's difficult playing surfaces and things like that. I want to see a lot more Gus Edwards. But if guys are able to get traction, I want to see a lot of Keaton Mitchell. I want to see Keaton Mitchell running wild. I want to see some read options with Keaton Mitchell involved. I want to see some read options with Zay Flowers on a jet sweep involved. I love when they call that play. I think it's been very successful so far this season. We haven't given it to Zay very much on that, but I think that's just because everybody's so worried about Zay's speed that Lamar's able to keep it himself. You know, Lamar's obviously done a great job against the NFC throughout his career, and he's played one game against the Rams. He played very well in that game. That might have been the first Jackson 5 we ever saw. No, it wasn't the first Jackson 5. I think the first Jackson 5 was 2019, week 1. I think Lamar had 5 as well. But it was coined the Jackson 5 by Joe Tessitore Thanksgiving weekend in 2019. So, in my opinion, this game, the players to watch on defense are Roquan, Matabike, Clowney, and Kyle Hamilton. I think those are the guys that are going to be up at the line of scrimmage trying to force negative plays and force the football out. Obviously, I think Gino's going to go for picks. I think Marcus Williams is going to go for picks. It's interesting to see how Marlon Humphrey returns, but I think those are like the 4 guys where I'm like, okay, if we're going to win, these guys are going to play well. It's Kyle Hamilton, Clowney, Matabike, and Roquan. Those are the guys that are going to enforce the middle of the field. And those are, I think, the key parts to this Ravens defense the last few weeks, especially when Marlon has been out. And then offensively, wrong side, and I think you're right. The Rams are going to load the box. I think, I'm going to say outside of Lamar Jackson, I think the guys to watch it's Odell, it's Keaton Mitchell, and it's Zay Flowers. And you could add in like Rashad Bateman as well. But I think, the quick passes and the check downs that Lamar Jackson is throwing is going to be the key factor in this game. How does he get it to Odell and Zay and Keaton Mitchell quickly so that they can use their speed and agility after the catch? And I know Odell's not necessarily known for his after the catch ability now, but when he was young, that was like his skill set. He was unreal after the catch. He'd take a slant every time. He would go like 70 yards. But the quick slants to Odell, the quick screens to Zay, the dump downs to Keaton Mitchell, how are they able to perform and get up the field quickly without Mark Andrews as being that primary check down guy, which I did talk about in a video earlier this week. But in terms of like players on the Rams to stop, I think the biggest thing is you want to force Matthew Stafford to move. I think you want to get pressure on him. You want him to throw those jump balls because he does have good jump ball wide receivers. I don't want to discount that at all, but that's when he typically makes mistakes, is when he's forced to like make a difficult play, because he's going to try. He's a great quarterback. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. When it's all said and done, I'd assume he makes the Hall of Fame, probably a first ballot. Because he did end up winning that Super Bowl. And if he plays a few more years, he's definitely going to get in. But, he has a great arm. He can make some tight window throws, but we want him to make as many tight windows throws as so that we can, get a Geno Stone or get a Kyle Hamilton or get, a BS ball skills Brandon Stevens to come in and get an interception. Maybe even Marcus Williams as well. So, yeah, JJ, brother Jim needs to lead us to victory. Speaking of, kind of college football, Jim Harbaugh and all that, what do you guys think on the college football playoff? Who do you guys think is going to win it all? Obviously, Michigan versus Alabama. I think they're both really good games. Like, I don't think either's going to be a blowout. I think the four best teams are probably in, but I'm sad because I think Florida State should have been in because I think they deserve to be in as an undefeated team. And if they had Jordan Travis, they'd probably be the number 2 team in there, which sucks. But what can you do? Now it's time to watch football. I'm excited to see Florida State play Georgia, though. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And I know a lot of people are expecting a bloodbath in that, but I think Florida State's got kind of a chip on their shoulder, and they're gonna have to prove that like they deserve to be in there. Let's see here. Yeah, the Ravens wearing the purple on purple. I am a big fan of the uniform, but oh yeah, the Ravens missed the my cause, my cleats week last week, so a couple of players are wearing them today. I saw Roquan Smith is wearing some. Those are always fun. I love when players wear cool cleats and things like that, especially when there's like actual significance and meaning behind it. But the game I believe is on CBS. I do wonder who the announcer is because the announcers are sometimes really annoying. Let's see. Does anybody know? Okay, week 14 announcers. Haha. CBS Sunday. Okay. Oh, well, this doesn't help. This doesn't say which is which game. I'd assume we get Iron Eagle. I haven't watched much of Ollie Gordon. Where does he go wrong, Siren? I haven't done much scouting. Obviously, the teams that I've watched. Oh, Oklahoma State. Okay, yeah, I haven't watched. I watched like one Oklahoma State game. I watched the game's on Fox. Really? I thought it was on CBS. Oh well, I have Sunday ticket, so I'll be able to watch it anyway. But oh yeah, it is on Fox. Okay. Darn, the last time the Ravens game was on Fox, it was the worst broadcast crew I've ever seen in my life. I don't remember who that was, but they were horrible. I think it was the Cardinals game. But yeah, I only watched the Texas Oklahoma State game, which is kind of unfair to judge anybody from Oklahoma State in that game because they were completely outmatched. But I have heard like he's pretty good. I do want to watch him. He'll definitely be a guy. I'll watch him before they play in their bowl game, and so I'll definitely have a good idea. Like any player, if they're playing in a bowl game, I will have scouted them before the bowl game. So like I'm starting my scouting process this week for the first set of Joe Davis. Whatever. It's not great, but oh well. Can't get primetime every week. We got a primetime stretch coming up. We got back-to-back primetime games after this, and then afternoon game against the Miami Dolphins. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But do you guys think that Lamar Jackson has a chance at the MVP? Like, honestly, I don't think Lamar really does unless the Ravens like slaughter the Niners and Jaguars on primetime. Then like maybe, but I don't think Miami will get flexed. Like this is probably the week they have to do it. I hope it gets flexed. That'd be a ton of fun to watch in primetime. But let's see here. I think it's week 16. No, that's the Niners game. Week 17 is Packers Vikings is in prime time. that's going to potentially be for a playoff spot. So I don't necessarily think the Ravens game will get flexed, but I think it could get flexed to the 4 o'clock slot and replace the Chiefs game, Chiefs Bengals at 125. I would assume that gets flexed. And then the final week of the season, I think Ravens Steelers could end up being the primetime game, but we're going to have to see how that all shakes out. They load the box. They will regret it. I hope so. I hope they load the box because I like watching Lamar Jackson throw more than the Ravens just like run game. Which I'm totally fine with the run game. I'm fine watching the Ravens like beat down teams that way, but it is fun to watch some deep shots and everything like that. But Darian says the Titans are going to get the upset today. Let's see. Can't remember the Titans are playing. I know who the Titans are playing. They're playing the they're playing tomorrow. They're playing the Dolphins. That'd be a sick upset if they're able to pull that one off. But, game time's less than like 9 minutes, 8 minutes away. I do want to get in some bold predictions. So, guys, let me know your offensive bold predictions down below. I'll get into mine. I'm going to start off. I'm going to go with the obvious one. I do it every week until it happens. Odell's going to throw a touchdown this week against his former team. I think he gets a shot. But then I think we're going to see I think we're going to see 2 Odell touchdowns receiving today. I think he's going to go for about 75 yards and 2 touchdowns on like 8 or 9 receptions. I think so. Start Odell in fantasy today. But I think Odell's going to have a really good football game today. OBJ having a big game. I like it. Yep. I'm on the same wavelength, Raven for life. Let's see here. Darian on the defensive side, Colin Hamilton with a pick and a couple of sacks. Yeah, my defensive side, I'm going to go with a Roquan Smith interception, and I'm going to say that Adafe gets a strip sack. Those are my 2 predictions. I'm on the defensive side of the ball. I like this one. I like this one a lot, JJ. That's a fun one. First 100-yard receiving game and a Roquan pick 6. That'd be sick. Let's see here. All right, guys. Unless you have any other questions, that's probably going to wrap it up. So ask any questions if you have them right now before I wrap up the stream. But thank you guys so much for coming through. It's a lot of fun. It's difficult doing these solo, but, still like to do them and talk with you guys for a little bit before the big games. Joshua and I will probably be back early next week or early this week doing a reaction or post-game discussion or something like that. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Should be a lot of fun. But thank you all so much for coming through. Subscribe for more Ravens content. I'll see all of you again next time. And hopefully the Ravens are sitting at 10-3.